Hey, y'all, and welcome back to the Bedroom Talks podcast, where we get financially intimate. Now, by now, you know that in this space, we don't hold anything back. We share the sunshine and the shadows, the laughter and the tears, and all the bits that make the tapestry of our lives. You remember in season one, we started things off with a roar, sharing my testimony, that raw and exhilarating journey that brought me here today. Then, throughout the year, we explored together unpacking topics like self love, vulnerability, and setting boundaries, all while incorporating financial intimacy into the conversation. We laughed a lot, learned a lot, and maybe even grew a little taller in our boots. But here's the thing, sometimes the most transformative stories aren't just about the wins, they're about the stumbles, the moments where vulnerability feels like a superpower and more like a tightrope walk. They're about the quiet battles we fight within ourselves, the questions that keep us up at night, the shadows that still whisper doubts in our ears. This season, Bedroom Talks goes deeper. We're peeling back the layers, digging into the messy, intimate corners of my own journey. We'll talk about the challenges I haven't shared before, the struggles I've wrestled with in the dark, and the lessons learned the hard way. It's going to be raw. It's going to be real. And it might just be exactly what your soul needs to hear. So buckle up. This season, we're getting down to the nitty gritty. We're going where the light barely reaches and letting you see the cracks alongside the stars. Because that's the beauty of this journey, isn't it? The understanding that we're not alone in the dark, that even the most polished facades have crevices where vulnerability peeks through. This season, let's explore those crevices together. Let's learn, let's heal, let's remind ourselves that even in the quietest corners, love, growth, and transformation are always possible. Hey, y'all. Get under the covers and get comfortable because we're about to get intimate. No, not that kind of intimate, but close. Did you know that 3 of the most intimate conversations we can have are sex, mental health, and finances? Probably didn't expect that last one, did you? Financial challenges are actually one of the leading causes of divorce and stress today. A big reason? We don't talk about it. At least not thoroughly anyhow. That's where I come in. Hi, I'm Dr. Michelle Marie, a certified wealth coach, best-selling author, and the creator of Bedroom Talks. Get financially intimate, a podcast focused on bringing awareness to the importance of financial intimacy and enticing openness to get real in a judgment-free zone. Together, we're going to cover a multitude of financial topics so you can leap toward financial freedom with confidence. Are you ready? Grab your wine or whatever drink you prefer, and let's unrobe this topic. All right, y'all, are you ready to get raw? Let's get this conversation started. So I just kind of wanted to start off with this conversation that I had with a friend of mine recently. And it really just ignited in me this desire to take what's inside of me, the things that I have journeyed through, the little details that we hardly ever talk about, and bring them forth into this podcast. And the reason why I wanted to do that is because as I was talking to her, I started thinking about the purpose of this podcast when I started it. The real reason that I started this podcast was because I felt like people were not going deep enough within their financial conversations, specifically with themselves, with their partners. And because of that, it was basically limiting individuals from being able to overcome the financial hurdles and just be able to have financial freedom, whatever that might look like. And as I was thinking about it, like I'm thinking about, like I said, the things that I've journeyed through. I was talking to my friend and I was, just kind of sharing like I don't talk enough about the challenges that I've had. And I started opening up a little bit more to her and explaining some of those things. And she expressed to me some of the fears and concerns that she has around money. And it just really resonated with me and reminded me that that is why I started this podcast, because my ultimate goal is to help individuals like you to go from this place of feeling frustrated and stuck to actually feeling free and peaceful in your financial life, even while you're on the journey. Because that's the thing, you can be on the journey to financial freedom and still feel peace in your finances. And we don't talk about that enough. So, in this particular episode, I'm not sure yet exactly how deep we're going to go. I don't know, even as I'm speaking to you right now, the exact thing that I'm going to talk about, or what the end result is going to be. I don't even know how long this is going to be. But I'm going to just kind of take you back years to the beginning for me. And we're going to talk about bits and pieces of that. And what I want to encourage each of you to do, we're doing things a little bit different this season. I am doing generally a couple of solo episodes per month and a couple of guest episodes per month. And that's what it's going to be. And the guest episodes are going to be other people kind of sharing their stories, as well as any tools and resources that they have that may resonate with you. And the solo episodes are going to be where I get to go deeper and I get to connect with you more. And what I want to ask of you is tell me where I'm resonating with you, and let me know if there's something that I said that you're like, I need to know more about this. And I'm going to go there with you. I'm going to share those things with you. For example, I was sharing with my friend about how there was a time in my life where I was just sick and tired of my life. I felt like there was no use in trying. There was no use in trying to improve my situation because I didn't feel like there was any way out. And I was overwhelmed with my financial life. And I just had absolutely no motivation, no encouragement, no desire to try anymore because I felt like there was no point and it wasn't going to help anything. And I would spend hours, I'm talking hours, in tears, alone in my room because I didn't know what to do. And I know that I'm not alone in that. I know that there's at least one of you out there that have been through that, or maybe even struggling with that right now. And you need to know that you're not alone, that somebody else has been through that, or maybe is currently going through that. And you also need to know that there is a way out. And I'm going to continue to give some tips and insight as well. But I don't want it just to be about that because there's so many resources out there where you can get some of that information. But what you really need is to, or I feel like what you really want is to be able to connect with somebody in a deeper level and feel like that person really understands what you're going through, what you're thinking, and what you're feeling. And I don't feel like I did that very well last season. So, yeah, that's what this season is going to be about. And we're going to see where it goes. I'm excited for it. I hope that you're excited for it as well. And let's just go back to I. This is a question. I'm gonna start off with this question. And okay, I'm just gonna ask it. I'm just gonna go out and just ask it, and then we're gonna go from there. So something I've been exploring with clients lately, and even some of my friends, is a question that I really truly believe is going to help each and every one of us figure out or understand better the root of what's going on with our finances in order to be able to overcome that and become in a more financially free and peaceful space. Okay. I first feel like I need to preface that most of the time, most of the time, there is a wall or a block or some type of um, something going on inside that is causing us to think, feel, act, behave in a certain way with our money that stems from the past. Okay. Now, don't get me wrong. There are situations that happen to us that are beyond our control, like a major medical emergency, loss of a loved one, something like that, that, is a completely different situation. And that's something that we'll talk about at a later time. This particular situation, what I'm talking about is stuff that has happened years ago and it's compounded over the years, and you now maybe are in a space where you're feeling overwhelmed, frustrated, anxious, like you don't even want to talk about money because you start having this tightening in your chest just talking about money, and it just makes you want to run away, maybe feeling like I don't want to open up the bills because I don't want to see how much I actually owe because that scares me, because the last few times I did that, it just I couldn't afford it, and we're like trying to figure out, like, why do we feel this way? How do we overcome this? Right? And I'm saying all these things because I personally have done those things. I have felt that way. I have had those experiences myself. And what I discovered was that there were things that happened years and years and years ago, and they stuck with me. And because they stuck with me, I had a hard time not feeling that way and changing certain ways that I talk about my money, certain ways that I um, manage my money, right? And as I went back and discovered this stuff about me and worked through it, it helped me to be able to just not feel so afraid, not feel so frustrated, and then be able to better manage the money so that I actually felt like I had something left over at the end of the month. And again, I'm just going to say, I understand that some of you might be in a situation where you have done everything that you can to, minimize as much as possible, and it's still really tight. And 100% get that. And there are some things that we can talk through over time to be able to work through that. But I still want to encourage you to kind of think about this question and see, maybe, is there anything that relates to you in this conversation? Okay, so really long explanation of why I want to ask this question. So apologies for that, but here's the question. What is your earliest memory of money? Doesn't matter what it is. Doesn't matter how old you were. It doesn't matter whether it was positive or non-positive. What is your earliest memory of money? I will share my earliest memory of money. I remember I must have been 7 or 8 years old, maybe, and we had the Monopoly game. And I wanted some candy from the candy store. that was down the street, and I did not have any money. I basically took Monopoly money out of the Monopoly game and took it down to the corner store and tried to buy candy with it. Now, the owner or cashier, whoever it was, basically explained to me that I could not buy anything with Monopoly money because it wasn't real. I don't remember all of the pieces of the conversation, but I remember how I felt. And in that moment, I felt discouraged and defeated. I remember feeling like, well, I don't have any money and I want this. And I didn't like that feeling at all. As a child, you're not really thinking about what that means or how that's going to relate to your life. But years later, as I'm thinking about this experience and what what I was going through in my life at the time, it kind of made me realize that whenever I want something and money is tight, I feel defeated and discouraged. I feel like, here we go again. I'm not going to be able to afford this. I can't have this because I don't have any money. And I realized I was constantly telling myself, I can't have this because. And I don't know about you, but when you're constantly telling yourself you can't have something, regardless of the reason, it's continually defeating and discouraging. And then it's so if you know anything about the benefits of positivity and speaking life over yourself, you might understand that when we constantly are speaking life and positivity over our lives, even if we're not experiencing something positive in that moment, the more that we speak positive about our lives, the more that we're going to see positive in our lives and the more that it's going to become positive, right? So, same thing on the opposite side. The more negative we speak into our lives, the more negative we feel, and we're basically inviting the negative. And so that's what I was doing for years. I was just constantly inviting the negative because that's all I knew. So as I began to change that and tell myself, you know what? I may not have this right now, but if I do XYZ, I can have this in X number of time. And it actually started to change my perspective of how I felt about my situation because I saw the possibilities, which got me excited. And then it just made me find different ways to save money, to make more money, and be more diligent with what I was doing with my money. And even when, I faltered or when something unexpected happened, I wasn't as frustrated or beating myself up over it as much because I knew that it was just a minor setback and that there was a way to overcome that. And don't get me wrong, it's not something that happened immediately. It was something that took time. And I still have days where I'm navigating that. I don't want to be one of those people that makes you think that I have it all together and I never make money mistakes again. That's not true. And over the next couple of weeks and months, you'll learn more about some of the challenges that I have had, even in this process of helping other people to be on their wealth building journey. I have faced my own financial challenges on the journey to helping other people. I'm just not as frustrated and overwhelmed about it now because I understand money differently now. And that's the journey that I really want to take you on this season, is chatting more about those things and maybe enlightening you to see your journey a little bit differently and change the trajectory of where you're headed by helping you to think about things differently. And I think I'm going to land this plane here today. I think I'm just going to leave it here and let you simmer on that and just reiterate asking you, what is your earliest memory of money? And then I'm going to encourage you to go deeper and ask yourself, how did that make you feel? Maybe it's a positive situation. Maybe it was a positive experience. I want to encourage you to journal that out. Even if it's just pulling out your phone and putting some notes in your notepad on your phone, or texting it to somebody, texting it to yourself. You don't have to have a whole journal experience in this moment if you don't want to. But I want to encourage you to think about that. Just take a couple of minutes and think about your very first experience with money or memory of money and how it made you feel. And I just want to encourage you to kind of simmer on that, because the next episode, where it's just you and I, we're going to go deeper on that. And we're going to kind of talk through what to do with that. And again, I'm going to share some of my personal experiences. So I hope that you've enjoyed this. I hope that it has resonated with you. I want to encourage you to leave a comment or send me a DM on social media. Tell me what you thought of this episode and what piece stood out to you most. And if there's something in here that you're like, you know what, I know so and so that really needs to hear this message, I'm going to encourage you to share it with them as well. I want to get this stuff out here because I want all of us to be in a better place financially. And that starts with our mindset. All right, y'all. Thanks for listening. Chat with you soon.